Yes, another episode of the I'm Not a Hater podcast featuring Mr. Brown as your favorite not hater. Um, First off, I want to say appreciate everybody that's been tuning in, checking in on all the latest episodes and new clips that have been put out. Definitely appreciate the views and the likes and the comments as always. This episode or this short little brief intermediate episode is basically some current events. A lot happened in the last 24 hours. Um, just kind of want to, gloss over some or talk about some things. Uh, Give, Malcolm Jamal Warner his flowers and talk about the WNBA and, politics as usual, right? Talk about Trump and his nonsense with the Epstein files and MLK files and everything else that he's doing so far. And, just basically give my piece on, what's going on in those respective worlds. So basically, politics, it's a crazy show. You got a lot going on. Government shutdowns on the table. You got Democrats fighting. You got Republicans fighting. You got Trump not releasing files. He's releasing MLK's file, but he won't release the Epstein file. But of course, we know why, because his name is probably plastered all over it, or at least on a couple pages, right? Won't say all over it, but a couple pages for sure. Doesn't want the public to know, doesn't want his supporters to know, even though they're some of the main people asking for it. In my opinion, it just shows, the guilt. Listen, if you went to the island, you was hanging out with dude, just, you know, suck it up. I mean, people are gonna judge you for it, yes, but at the end of the day, like, it's only gonna last but for so long. This ducking and dodging and trying to keep it, under wraps. Eventually, it's gonna come out, and then when it does, what are you gonna do? Like, you don't have any defense ready for this, or what? Like, why are we, why we gotta wait so long? Why are you not prepared for this type of thing? You knew that this could happen eventually. Like, why aren't you ready? Um, but that's like a small take. Like, the government got bigger fish to fry than to worry about Epstein files. Like, we really need to worry about how we going to, manage the economy and keep people from, losing their jobs or having, housing taken from them, among other things. But, the president seems to be worried about canceling Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel. Like, you more concerned with getting rid of celebrities than you are the actual crises that are going on in the world. And that's your job as the president, to solve these things, or at least work with the people to solve them. And now the House is on basically vacation until September. So what's there is there. What's done is done for now. And basically when they come back around in September, they'll, I guess, get back to work. But until then, we have to deal with the president trying to hide his wrongdoings in these Epstein files and judgments for per se. Now, I said I was going to talk about the WNBA, and this is for the real sports fans. This is the time of year where it's not a lot of sports left. Basketball, NBA basketball is done. Summer league is done. Um, Unless you watch baseball on a consistent basis, that's there. Cornhole is there. And reruns of NFL Network and NBA TV will get you through until those seasons actually start. Um, but I want to talk about the WNBA. So on. They've been everywhere. For good or bad reasons, right? And I'm a basketball fan, so I watch the WNBA, unlike other people. And I'm actually into it. I have a team. I watch the Las Vegas Aces. Asia Wilson, Jackie Young, and Chelsea Gray. The rest of the squad I watch. Um, and I've come to realize that most people watch because of Caitlin Clark. Now, if you're like me and you're just a fan of basketball, you'll watch regardless of who playing. Caitlin's games do get the most national pub, publicity. Um, she is the star among stars of the league. Now, is there hate? I don't know if it's hate. Um, I wouldn't call it hate. I'd call it like welcome to the league. Now it's her second year, so maybe, some of the hard fouls shouldn't exist anymore. But it's basketball. Like we would expect it. Michael Jordan got fouled every time he went to the basket against the Pistons. Um, we didn't. We weren't up in arms and crying foul. But it happens. It's part of the game. She responds. She'll hit a three in your face and give you a look and run down the court and do all this other crazy stuff. And people will say, "Oh, that's competitive." Angel Reese, and that's always going to be there. Like that Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark thing is more like Magic and Bird. Now, you may say like, "Oh, Angel Reese isn't Magic Johnson." She's not. She's a different player. But the comparison, because they came in at the same time, they were already linked to each other. They're gonna be forever linked to each other. Their careers are gonna always be lined up against each other to see who was better. Was it Caitlyn or was it Angel? That's just what it's gonna be. Angel is showing you that she is a dominant force on the inside. Caitlyn is showing you that she can hit threes from the parking lot. And it's just one of those things. Now, as far as them in the CBA goes, and the discrepancies that's happening, they get 9% of revenue shares and they don't get anything off jersey sales. Now Caitlyn will benefit from what they're actually trying to get. They actually want more revenue shares. um they know that they don't make money, right? Because that's the thing we hear the most. Well, they have never turned a profit. They know they haven't turned a profit, but they want money from the jerseys that are being sold, the T-shirts, the hats, etc. Because WNBA gear actually does sell among young girls and people who are actually fans. Caitlin Clark jerseys probably fly off the shelves. She don't get a dime from it, but she's got enough commercials and endorsements and other things to bridge that gap. But for the person who's the seventh woman on the roster, they may not have that same commercial status that Caitlyn does. They just want a bigger piece of that small pie. Now they're not the NBA. People say, "Oh well, it's boring to watch." Okay, it's a lot of jump shots. It's a lot of threes. But it's good basketball when they're playing correctly. Now the All Star game this weekend wasn't that 4 point shot. Get rid of it. Throw it in the trash. It wasn't good at all. Um, I didn't like that. I do feel like they need another event for their All Star Friday night. They do need like a third event because in the NBA All Star weekend you have the skills challenge, the 3 point shootout, and for better or worse, the dunk contest. They're not going to do a dunk contest, obviously. They won't appease people and lower the rim like people have been asking. They're not going to do it. So just stop asking them because it pisses them off every time you do. So they're not going to lower the rim. But I feel like if they had like I don't know, a one-on-one queen of the court or a a 2-on-2 type of thing where they did something like that, where you take like some fringe all-star players who were like right on the cusp of being all-stars and maybe team them with a legend and they go 2-on-2, something something creative though, because watching them do the skills and then do the threes, it was like, okay, that's great. And then it was like it's over. And it's like, wow, okay, nothing else. You was looking for that extra thing. So I think they need to add something to it. Obviously, they don't take well to suggestions, but you know, um, and that's just I guess that's just them being uh athletic women. I don't want to say women in general, but they don't take well to suggestions. I've seen people, NBA players suggest that they lower the rim, they get attitudes, and I mean, imagine like Breonna Stewart coming down and dunking with two hands. It would excite you, or Angel Reese coming on the coming off the break like Karl Malone used to do and slam it with one hand. That would be exciting. But that's not their brand of basketball. Their brand of basketball is back to the basket, kick it out for the three, drive and kick. put a couple crossovers here and there, but they're gonna shoot from, the logo. They're gonna be, shooting threes, maybe 20, 30 something a game. And that's the type of basketball they're playing. Unfortunately. You want to see some dunks and watch the NBA. That's how they feel. I don't I don't know. But with the new crop of talent that's in the league now, Paige Beckers and others, and then Juju Watkins coming in a couple years, or maybe like a year. And the young lady from Notre Dame, Hidalgo, and other players coming in, they gonna have um some more talent. Hopefully they don't, treat them like they treated Caitlyn, basically, which was kind of rough, kind of terrible. Um, it almost seemed like they were a little spiteful of Caitlyn, but Caitlyn, she brought the casual fan to their league. Like their ratings went up when she was playing, and then when they went down in the toilet. So that should let you know that Caitlyn is a valuable part of your league, and you should treat her as such. Um, but the WNBA is it's there. It's not going anywhere. They do have the Unrivaled League. I did check that out this season. I think that's a good alternative to them having to go overseas after that whole Brittany Griner situation. Um, so shout out to Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart for creating that league. I definitely think that if if the WNBA can't get the collective bargaining agreement together, having that unrivaled league is a great alternative for some of these players to go and play. And I think they kind of got it right. It's like 3-on-3 up and down basketball. It's it's pretty good from what I watched. It was pretty good. I just think that you know embrace some of what these people are telling you to do. Don't be so close minded. If I could give them advice, but they probably wouldn't listen to little old me. Um, but embrace what these people are telling you. Um, and like try some new stuff. I definitely think if they you know, add some stuff to the game itself, people would pay more attention. I definitely think that the whole play up the whole Caitlyn and Angel thing, whether Angel is a hater or Caitlyn is just that good, play that part up. Give some light to the people that have already been there, Asia Wilson and um, all those players that came before. Like definitely, don't forget about them. They got MVPs and championships for a reason. They definitely play the game the right way. I think they need to focus on brand, but a player like Asia, you don't have to worry about it. Like she got her own branding and everything going on with her shoe and everything else she got happening. So it's like certain players got it and certain players don't. Kind of be inclusive though. The NBA had the individuals, then they went to the teams. Like you might have to do the same thing when it comes to the WNBA, and that's really the main thing. Like keep the main thing the main thing. Focus on the basketball product that you're putting out on the court, and then the rest of it'll follow. If you want to be honest, and I think that's like the biggest part. Focus on the basketball, and everything else will correct itself. As far as them turning a profit, they get dragged on the internet for everything. So I don't know if they're gonna ever turn a profit with the guys, but play it up for the women. Women will watch if you cater it to them. That's just how I feel about that. Basically, good luck to them. It's been around for 27 years, so somebody's watching, right? Besides me, somebody's keeping them on TV and TV deals and everything else. So it's a good thing. But what I really want to get to, and before I start this, I also want to say rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne, rock legend Ozzy Osbourne has also passed away. But the one that um, struck me the most yesterday was Malcolm Jamal Warner. I affectionately call him Theo Huxtable. Um, I know he played many roles. He had Malcolm and Eddie. Um, I saw some other stuff too. He had a show with Tracy Ellis Ross. Read Between the Lines. Yes, that's but I want to give him a huge rest in power. Malcolm Jamal Warner was more than just, Theo Huxtable, and basically was based on Ennis Cosby, Bill Cosby's son. Um, he was more than that though. He was a relatable character. Like you could almost see yourself being Theo, right? And as a kid growing up, like I watched the Cosby Show, so people who used to call me Bud, right? I guess they said I looked like Bud, the dude that played Bud. But that's another thing. But growing up though, like he was cool. Like Theo came in, he was the only boy, only brother in the house. And then later on, when he graduated college or right before, he was doing the whole student teaching job with the kids at the youth center. And Theo, he had style to him. Like Theo he was relatable. He wasn't. They didn't make him like a snob, and I think Malcolm probably had something to do with that. Like he probably wanted to be relatable to the people in his neighborhood and the people that he knew would be watching the show, and you can appreciate that. Like if they had made him like super super smart and untouchable, that wouldn't have been real. But Theo struggled. You know what I'm saying? Theo had dyslexia. Um, Theo had women issues, everything that basically you go through as a teenage boy going into manhood is things that you struggle with. And watching it now, like dang, I could relate to all of that he was going through. Episode Justine when they broke up and he was all sad and Cliff um tried to talk him through it with the blues records. Like all of that is relatable. Theo overcoming his dyslexia, relatable. Theo graduating college, relatable. And you just got to thank Malcolm for putting his acting chops in it and allowing the character um to shine. Definitely was caught off guard and shocked by the news. Sending massive amounts of condolences to his wife and daughter and other family members as well. He's going to be missed. We do have him forever captured in, you know, television form. And Malcolm was doing this thing in poetry. He's playing the bass. He was doing a lot. And, just appreciate him for all his hard work in the land of Hollywood and so forth and so on. Um, you know, it's sad to see people that you watch growing up. You're sad to see them go, almost like legends in your eyes. It's sad to see your legends pass away, but we all know that that's a part of life. You're born, and then you live, and then ultimately you die. And if you do enough through that time period, if you live in, it'll your legacy will live on forever. And I think Malcolm has done more than enough. His legacy will live on uh, for a long time. So, you know, like I said, condolences to his family and friends. Um, you know, Bill Cosby, he's messed up about it because he always looked at Malcolm like a son, and after losing his own son, I know this had to bring back horrible memories. But everything happens. Unfortunately, sometimes bad things happen for a reason, and we don't know what the reason was. We can only, wonder, speculate. But Malcolm did a good job while he was on this earth, and just appreciate him for who he was. Um, you know, like I always do, I'm gonna give you just brief positive word. Listen, live every day like it's your last. Do the things that you need to do. Chase your dreams. Go after what you want because you only got one chance. You only got one life. And peace and love. I'll see you on the next episode. This was I'm Not a Hater podcast, special episode, current events. A lot of things happened in the last 24 hours. Catch up with me. Peace.